Guten Morgen. Good morning. Good morning. It is a blessing to see you here. This is Jackie, the legislator for the House of Delegates, 89th District. But hey, we have those days. I am hoping you all are well. A lot to go through, a lot to see. Let's stop with the arms. How about that? A lot to do here. Let me make sure this internet connection is right so that we can get through this very, very well. Just as a reminder, if you don't remember or don't know, tonight we have a town hall at 5:30. Our town hall is going to be virtual. If you would like to sign up to attend the town hall, that is in the post. So do not hesitate to sign up. Come tonight, 5:30. It'll be quick, down and dirty, and an opportunity for you all to to provide feedback, questions, comments, needs, all those good stuff. Here, let me check the just to make sure. I'm being told it's a little bit choppy. Is it better now? I just want to make sure. I don't want to have a whole video where it's jacked up. Make sure the signal is good to go. If the signal is good to go, can you give me a thumbs up reaction? Thumbs up. If it's not, we have town halls every single month. So every month y'all will catch us outside. You're going to catch us outside somewhere. Giving it a chance. There we go. You're going to catch us outside somewhere. We do have the schedule for the rest of the year, so expect that you will get a copy of whatever the signal is for next year, whatever the places that will be for the remainder of the year, which is really exciting. Glad to be able to have that on the calendar. We'll be able to get face-to-face. Our goal is always to hit up all the spots across the district to make sure that we are at least near you. I will say this for civic leagues. We, in September, will start back up taking requests to head to civic leagues. Just so you know, especially if you're a person who attends civic leagues, is that the reason why we are do the town halls every month, and especially in different areas of the city, is to give people the opportunity in different areas of the city to come see us. We have 80,000. We are charged, this office is charged with over 80,000 Virginia residents. What I know is I won't be able to make it to every single civic league. So we do civic leagues by request. So let's say you will send all the town halls for the rest of the month to the civic league presidents. So your civic league presidents will get a flyer if they're up to date on the your civic league, or there's new president, new whatever, new phone number, new email address, that on the norfolk.gov site where you look for civic association, that your civic association is up to date. COVID did a number on a lot of us, so we just want to make sure that's up to date, because that's the list that we're going to use to send out the town hall listing for the rest of the year. And with that town hall listing, we will let all civic league presidents know that we will be headed to civic leagues as a by request situation. So if you request me to show up to your civic league, we will do our best to make sure it works, get the calendars gelling up, because we'll only be able to do this until the end of the year, right? Until December. And then everything's going to shut down from January until probably the 1st of March, because I will be in Richmond and then we'll come back and we'll have some time there, recognizing that we'll be in campaign season, so we'll be making those moves to civic leagues anyway. All right, sound good? Cool. If you haven't already, sign up for our newsletter. Man, you're missing out. You're missing out if you're not getting the newsletter. So sign up. That's in the post as well. And we're doing the good work. If you believe in the work that we're doing, and we're trying to expand the good work. No, I'm hustling my butt off doing the thing I hate the most, calling people, asking folks for dollars. Can't stand it. Understand why it has to happen. But I would love if you could give $10 a month, if you can give $5 a month, if you can give $2 a month. I don't care. Every little bit helps. With $2, I can send off 66 text messages. And we do want to get ourselves in the habit of being able to use all the tools to reach all the people. There are 5 generations we're working with, right? One of them can't read or write yet because they're children. But we got a generation that loves text message, one that loves social media, one that loves the newspaper, one that don't want to deal with none of it, right? So we got to get to their mailbox. So these are the things when we collect, we try to take in, when we take in investments, it is our ability to do constituent services better, and also set us up for next election cycle. Because once I get back in February or March, it's on Donkey Kong. We're going to be right back into, but guess what? Not much is going to change, because we're going to just keep doing what it is that we're doing, because that's what we think. That's what we think you all want, and better, hopefully better. So let's get to our news you can use. I would love you in the chat if you got questions, comments, concerns. Good morning. I see some good mornings in there. Go ahead and drop your questions, comments, concerns into the chat. I will be taking them. And tell me some good news this morning. Actually, is there anything good happening for you this week? Yes, tell me some good news. That's what I want to hear. Good news this morning. I will tell you really amazing news locally. Today, actually, I will be in Berkeley today. So if you're going to be out and about today, I'm pulling up the calendar, y'all. Right? Pull up the calendar. Can you see it? Yep. Pull up the calendar. Today is going to be the grand opening ribbon cutting for the Centera Community Center in Berkeley, South Norfolk area. This is a huge deal. This has been in the works for quite a bit of time. I think prior to the first time I heard about this was in COVID. Dr. Keith Newby, who became I want to say like the chair for diversity, equity, inclusion for the council for Centera. He's a doctor, cardiologist here, very instrumental in why we have Fort Norfolk up here. That center, I mean, it's just so, it's beautiful. You walk in Fort Norfolk and you see the most diverse faces in medicine. It is just a beautiful sight to see. It was instrumental in getting this together down in the South Norfolk area. On top of that, this is purposely done close to a grocery store, because another piece of health and wellness is the food pharmacy. When I say pharmacy, I say FAR, as in, making sure that we are prescribing food close enough that folks can get back on the right health track. So today at 9 a.m., there is going to be the grand opening at 701 South Main Street, Suite 100A. That's at the Banks. Cool? You should be there. And also don't forget the town hall tonight. Everyone's talking about the debt forgiveness and the loans and what's happening with the student loan relief. I thought we'd talk a lot about that today, because it's a 3-part plan that the federal government, particularly President Biden and his administration, have come to after a very long time of that commitment to cancel $10,000 of student debt relief for low to middle income borrowers. Here's what we know, right? And I'm saying good morning to the rest of y'all, is that the cost of public four-year university has been on a look at my hand, on a scale of like this, like just going up. In the 1980, that cost was about $8,000 to go to college, whereas now the average cost is $24,000, right? That's a big disparity. However, right, whereas in 1980, the Pell Grant, the the cost was about about $8,000. Pell Grants were about $6,000, right? The average dollars in Pell Grant was about $6,000. Now, the average dollars in Pell Grant from the average Pell Grant is still about $6,000, whereas the cost of schooling has gone up to about the average cost of schooling has gone up to about $24,000. So this whole skyrocketing of cumulative federal loan debt, I think, has gone up to $1.6 trillion, and is also rising for over 40 million more borrowers. And that's a significant burden to the American families, right? And I don't know, tell me in the chat, have you ever used the Pell Grant? Do you have student loan debt? Drop it in the chat if you have those things. So we know that this makes a lot of those borrowers vulnerable. It's tough. And so here is sort of the down and dirty, so that you guys, when we're talking about this, because there was some news that came out, said, oh my goodness, if you live in Virginia, it's going to be part of your taxable income. That is false. Let me just say that is false, right? That is false. You're not going to be taxed for the relief that you get. So remember that this thank you to the pandemic for putting these targets, putting these objectives together to get us in a better place. So the president had announced that the Department of Education is going to do, I think, 3 separate things. One, going to target debt relief to address the financial harms of the pandemic, to fulfill that commitment. So they're going to provide up to $20,000 in debt cancellation of Pell Grant recipients who had loans that were held by the Department of Education. And so up to $20,000 in debt cancellation for anybody who's got a loan under the Department of Education, and up to $10,000 in debt cancellation for non-Pell Grant recipients. So if you were able to get a Pell Grant, then you can get up to, because the fact of the matter is, and I will talk about this, borrowers that are most folks that are getting the Pell Grant, their households aren't making over $60,000. That's a fact, right? This is a huge deal, as Vince just said, for certain. So to be eligible for this, you have to make less than $125,000 for single couples, and then $250,000 for married couples. No high income to individuals or high income households, in the top 5% will benefit from this. So I think that's fair that the top 5% doesn't benefit for this. And then that pause that they put on repayment is going to extend until extend to December 31st. So remember, during the pandemic, when we're going to pause federal loan repayment, that's going to stick around until the end of the year. And so the expectation is, if you are a borrower who knows you still going to have money to pay back, even with the forgiveness, that January 1, you're going to have to start paying that back. So tell your friends, tell your people, expect that they're going to have to start paying that money back. So another piece of this program that we've all been hearing about, student loan debt, is making sure that the loan system is manageable for future borrowers. So this is the foresight side of it. If you're like me, I got a junior in high school, right? I am hoping that this boy will help me be able to pay for school. And I'm just going to keep hoping, okay? I'm just going to keep hoping. But if you're being foresighted, you're thinking about how are we going to pay for college with inflation up, with all these different things. Part of this plan is addressing that. So they're going to cut the monthly payments in half for undergraduate loans. So that means the Department of Education is proposing the sort of new income-driven payment plan that protects low-income borrowers from making any payments that cap for making any payments, and it caps the monthly payments of undergraduates of the loan for loans at 5% of the borrower's discretionary income, right? So they can't take more than 5% of what you make in as a payment. That is what it is. So that means that the average annual student loan payment could be lowered by more than $1,000. That's good news. They're going to fix the broken, it's called the public service loan forgiveness, right? So folks that program There was a program where people were like, hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go into public service to try to get my loan forgiveness. Hold on. That's money, y'all. That's money. And drop it in the comments. Did you get a Pell Grant? I've been the recipient of a Pell Grant. While I was on active duty, I was going to school and I applied for it. I had a 6-month-old baby. I was an E5, I think. Yeah, E5. 6-month-old baby, went to school and got that money, right? Got help to be able to do what I needed to do. And I was also on WIC. That was real too in San Diego while I was on active duty. So the PSLF, Public Service Loan Forgiveness, that's that program that if you borrowers who worked for a nonprofit, the military, the federal government, state, tribal, or local government receive an appropriate credit towards their forgiveness. So that what they're going to do is they're going to work on it. They haven't really said what the fix is going to be yet, but they've already got like $10 billion in loan forgiveness approved, and they're going to work on that because that's a whole deal with people going into public service. And then to protect future students and taxpayers, that's us, right? By reducing the cost of college and the holding college accountable when they hike prices. Listen, I remember this past General Assembly when I was talking to colleges and they were like, we do not want to increase our tuition. Please fight for certain monies, blah, blah, blah. And I remember every college being told me that they were told that the appropriations shared, that's the money guy, right? Barry Knight, that's our money guy, that said, hey, 3%. Just let everybody know off top, y'all gonna have to increase y'all tuition by 3%. And I remember one of the presidents just being like, we don't want to do this. So this is an opportunity to start holding accountable to further reduce the cost of college. The president is going to continue as part of his plan to try to double the maximum Pell Grant to make community college free. That's a huge deal. I just went on a tour to Tidewater Community College, and I'm going to tell you, I was blown away. I had no idea all of the resources and opportunities that were at Tidewater Community College. It inspired me to go online and just go take a class. I'm probably going to pick up a sign language class like I've always wanted to from TCC, but they're trying to make community college free. While colleges have an obligation to keep, they believe to have an obligation to keep prices reasonable to ensure that people get the value for their investment. So they're going to take and make some rules and try to announce efforts to ensure that student borrowing gets the value for the college costs, right? And then lastly, yeah, I think did I get them all? 1, 2, 3. I did. That was all 3, right? So the 3 things in this is debt relief to folks. That's one piece of it. Making it so that loans are more manageable, and like I said, fixing the broken system, making sure they're not charging over 5% of the discretionary income, and then holding schools accountable when they hike prices. Okay. I want to know any questions, comments, concerns about this particular program. I will say this again. There was an article that came out that said Virginia is one of 11 states that's going to charge you, a taxpayer, for you're going to have to be, it's going to be part of your taxable income if you get this. That is not true. The American Rescue Plan sort of helped us out to make sure that that this sort of stuff is not taxable income for federal income taxes. So that's a myth. It's not happening. We ain't doing it. That's okay. So when you hear that, just shut that down real quick. All right? I need y'all to be to shut them down, folks, when stuff like that happens. Sound good? Okay, y'all just listen to me today. Okay. All right. So speaking of school, we did have a story where our school board, it's speaking, the school board is out loud. The school board is optimistic about these new test scores, but y'all, what we do know is the test scores still are not where they were prior to the pandemic. school year, what it's going to look like for our little citizens. Because what we're seeing is what's typical. Chesapeake, Virginia Beach are above the state averages in every other subject. Hampton is above, and Newport News, Norfolk, Portsmouth, Suffolk, we're below in all the subjects, right? This is the story of our lives, right? So we did offer, thank you to our school system, offered some summer instructional options for them, and that budget accommodated 10,000 students, but we still got a long way to go. I'm having conversations, no joke. I had a conversation the other day about why is it that we haven't approached the option to do year-round school. Now, beat me up sideways all the way through, but I do believe that there's some bandwidth to start really getting real about how we get ahead, how we get back on track, and how we be of service. There are some really amazing year-round school models. I think, there are some amazing year-round school models that give educators and students and families a real good sense of flow to be able to get our kids back up and on track. I don't see another way. However, knowing that I don't have all the answers and all the visions, I say to you all, if you have feedback, if you have things and like, how do we get ahead, help us. I am not opposed to bringing something forth just to start the conversation. Okay? Can it be an option? Okay. On top of that, you all may have seen in the news that we as Norfolk, or we as the Commonwealth, and I'm pulling this up because I know it's a big deal, that California, right, announced that they were going to be phasing out gas-powered cars, new gas-powered cars, right, by 2035. Did y'all hear that? Give me a thumbs up if you heard that. If you've heard that, then you really been in the news, because it's a huge thing happening. Let me make sure that I'm not missing any comments. Good. Okay. So California announced this rule that they're going to be barring the sale of new gas-powered vehicles by 2035, and under our current code, Virginia has to adopt what California is doing. And you may be asking yourself, how the heck can California make a rule? And it ain't the federal government, it's the state of California, have any impact on the Commonwealth of Virginia. Well, friends, certified doers, let me tell you. So in 2021, the General Assembly passed a law requiring that the state adopt the same automobile standards as the California Air Resource Board. Okay? That's real. I meant to look up where that came from. So we adopted that. Whatever this other state do, we gonna do. That make me a little nervous. I'm just gonna say that. So like just saying whatever they do. Now, here's what's true, right? So who the heck or what the heck is the California Air CARB? That's their name. California Air and Resources Board. So the California Air and Resources Board, which is CARB, that's who we following, they're charged with protecting programs and strategies, and actions to fight climate change. Everything from requirements to reduce greenhouse gases to or requirements for clean cars or innovation solutions, right, for gas emissions. Because we know that California typically tends to be a leader in sort of these approaches and climate change and stuff, we tethered ourselves to them. So when they make a move, when I move, you move, just like that. That's what it is. That's what ends up happening. When I move, you move, just like that. And it is a board in California, just, letting y'all know, of 16 members. 12 are appointed by the governor and confirmed by the Senate. So they're local people in California, experts, and folks that are making those decisions. Now there is going to be some talks about, how do they repeal this? Should we be on the track to to getting rid of gas powered cars? Now listen, the truth is, if I learned anything from the environmental justice summit that I went to last week, that we talked about last Thursday, is that implementation 2035 is not that far away. When you, in the grand scheme of things, that's about 13 years away. 12, right? We'll say, because 2022 is almost over. That's not that far away. What I believe is, if we're lawmaking, right, when we are lawmaking, there are certain considerations we have to take for the dynamics of locality, cities, towns, counties. We had a gentleman stand up and say at the retreat about the electric buses. He said, hey, look, I think electric buses are amazing. I think it's cool. But I live in a very small town, and my grandfather in this little small town was the Department of Transportation representative for the school system, right? He head up transportation. And what happens when there's maintenance that needs to happen on electric buses, we will have electric buses and gas buses, but probably based off where we live, we won't have people to be able to do the necessary maintenance, upkeep, or fixing of these buses, because of just by design of where we live, by happenstance. And so when we think about how we adopt things, I feel like, or I know that I'm learning to always think of the unintended consequences and think about other localities and how this will affect. It is going to affect Norfolk, right? I'm always coming from the mindset of how it affects us right here, but being really, really cognizant of all cities are not, it's a nice car, so Monte Carlo, that all cities are not created equal, and so the impact is very different in each space and place. So this will be, I'm sure, a huge conversation that we'll be having over the coming months, all the way through session, about us being tethered to the California Air. Don't let me get to telling the fib again. Air Resources Board. That's real. Okay. So where are we at on time? I think we got a little bit more time here. Yeah, we got 3 minutes, and then we'll wrap it up here. Shout out to folks in Huntersville, and shout out to Auntie Advocate. Auntie Advocate is, and we're going back to local here, giving you some good news you can use. Auntie Advocate is going to be having a event held this Saturday afternoon at the Huntersville Community Center. It's called Happiness Day. She wants to have monthly community outreach programs in addition to events like this on Saturdays in Huntersville. Go Huntersville, man. Right here around the corner from us. So if you need a little Happiness Day is this Saturday in Huntersville. What am I doing? Check your voter registration. Did you hear me? I said check your voters registration. We are coming down to the wire. We're about to hit September. Y'all going to be getting hit hard with all the mailers, all the stuff and things. Make sure your stuff is up to date. Make sure you are voting in the same precinct. Everyone in the city of Norfolk is in Congressional District 3 now, right? Congressional District 3. Every last one of us are in Congressional District 3, whereas before some of us were in 3, some of us were in 2. That's not the case. Everybody's in Congressional District 3, but I need you to know where you're voting, okay? Any questions? Yeah. Okay. So Kim said California is very, very environmentally progressive. Yep. And so we chained ourselves to them. And now they're making a move, and we got to move, unless they repeal that law. And I just don't, with the way our General Assembly is set up, I don't see that happening, which is why you all are going to be extremely important over the next year or so. Just in us getting down on it. All right. So leaving some space here for you all. Leaving some space. What I'll do is I will say tonight is our town hall. Right? It's virtual, so you ain't no excuses. 5:30 virtual. The link to sign up to register to the town hall is right there in the comments. You ain't got to worry about a thing. We'll give you updates. Last but not least, next week, we're going to be in Richmond next Wednesday. That's real. School starts next week too. This is the last weekend we got to Netflix and chill with our kids. This is the last week we got for all that. So it's going to be really important that whatever it is, that you get yourself set up for success with your little ones over this next week. And school starts on Tuesday, but I will be in Richmond. You all can expect that we will probably be hearing legislation about reproductive rights or tax cuts or something. I'm on hot standby, just getting myself prepared for what's happening. All right. And it's gonna be real. Know that this stuff that was happening was not for fake. We're about to be hit with some real stuff. We'll be selecting an SEC judge and moving forward from there. But that's all that I have. I'm just asking you to subscribe to our newsletter, invest in us, give us a little bit every month. Like, come on, $5 so we can do the thing with the thing, right? We're just trying to build our staff and do better constituent services, and then attend tonight's town hall. Okay. Well, that is all that I have this morning. I'm gonna go get my boy a physical today. That's an important piece, right? Getting these kids their physicals before they go back to school. Wishing you all the best week ever. Don't forget Berkeley this afternoon or this morning at 9 o'clock. It's gonna be dope. Until next time, I'm Jackie Glass, Mama and Navy Vet, certified doer, laced up legislator for the House of Delegates 89th District. And I appreciate you, certified doer, for getting up and getting at it with us. All right, make it a great day.